It all started with a small SaaS company in Finland. Today, it's used in over 80 countries around the world. The journey, anything but easy. Lessons learned, key insights, hard-earned experiences. This is the founder's point of view.
Yeah, welcome to the Founder's Point of View podcast. Today we are going to talk about modern customer success and how to modernize that, because we had done big work during the last couple of months, and we have modernized our customer success totally, and also this customer support function.
Yeah,
Not just the success function, but also the support function.
exactly.
Yeah. And today we are going to go through the basics about that and the learnings and why we decided to do that kind of project, and what have been the biggest advantage and benefits after the modernization.
Yeah.
All right. What was the main motivation and behind the modernizing our customer success work at Trust Mary?
I think the most important part was that our customer success's daily job looked like super reactive, just checking emails and contacting customers and helping them with their ad hoc needs and problems and so on. So there was a lack of proactive customer success work, like really like solving our customers' business problems and helping them to grow and develop through our software. But the work itself was more like just reacting and helping with how, for example, how to use TrustMary or how to use specific feature and so on. And
The emails. It is mostly every morning they started the day by opening the email and responding the email.
Exactly. It was like the to-do list
Yeah.
for the customer success function. And that was it. It wasn't good for us, like from employee satisfaction perspective, but also not good for our customers. So
Yeah.
necessary need.
Yeah. And our main goal was to move from firefighting to proactive model and approach.
Yeah.
More strategic customer success work. That was the goal why we decided to start to do the project together with the customer success people.
Yeah. And I think it's quite usual problem in SaaS organizations and also in the other organizations that the customer success work is more or less just contacting customers who are churning and leaving the company, stopping to use the service and so on. So it's not like unusual way to do it. It's definitely old, not a modern way to do it. If you are contacting customers only when they are leaving or when they have like huge problems and so on. So we kind of wanted to change that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think that we have always been pretty good with the customer success.
Yeah.
And compared to the typical SaaS companies, especially here in Finland, we have benchmarked that a lot and had discussions yearly with the other founders at how they do it. But still, I think that even though we have every year we have iterated the processes and we have thought that everything is now as modern as they can be. still with for example that AI, it has came so quickly.
Yeah.
So we needed to stop and rethink everything again to find that most modern level we want to be at.
Yeah.
So that's why
It's always good thing to like rethink your processes like during a couple of years or something. So like normal business development tasks, I guess.
The iteration is not enough. Of course, you need to do that, but after some longer period, you need to stop and also rethink the architecture and the main processes, because those might be the reason you cannot iterate anymore or further your processes and the efficiency of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, what process we used? What process did we use when we started to do the redesign?
First of all, we had great framework for doing the exercise. It was actually your idea to split like the customer journey to the different stages and like rethink the whole process and all the customer segments through that framework. So it was really great idea. Those stages on our customer journey, they are trial, which is basically when customer is testing the our product
together with the sales.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's led by sales mainly. Then onboarding, when we are like ramping up the customer and teaching how to use the service and ensuring that the like usage of the service is what we expect it to be. Then there is activation stage, which also, like in my opinion, it's the most important of those stages because it's like the stage when the customer success says bye bye and see you, and customer has to use the software on their own. So if they manage to like go through that stage, it's like really good sign for the future for both parties. But yeah,
and then there is a retention after that. So
it's like the happy stage.
Everything is going well and customers stay.
Yeah.
And then there is also the growth stage of if we or customer, if they start to see the more potential, then we can do the upsell or upgrade to the next level.
Yeah.
And then there is a segment if someone is not using our product well, that reactivation stage where we need to reactivate the users and the companies to use it better. And then the last one is that churn stage. So the companies who have told us that they will end to use Trustware.
Yeah. And what we actually did, first of all, we didn't look like at the history. So it was very future oriented, and we didn't want to list all the old things and see how we can manage with those. But we basically checked like all those customer journey stages and how should customer success team act on the specific states, what should support function do, how about sales, how about marketing, and so on. And we basically created the ideal model, and after that started to think how to implement, if it's possible to implement that or not. You can tell more about it.
Yeah, we listed those 7 stages, and then the first task was to find our data and the triggers which tell us that specific client is in this stage.
Yeah.
So we tried to find those triggers and the demographics and data points what we could use to define everyone to their specific stage. That was the first task. And then the second task is that we started to define that what kind of actions we need to do as a customer success as a customer success function to the clients in specific stage.
Yeah.
And then the third step was check the responsibilities between all the other functions. And I think that was the task where we found out that actually we need to also define again and redesign our customer support function also, not just the customer success, because we noticed that actually to get rid of that reactive email ticketing system and reactive work job load, we need to think again also our customer support. And so when we defined those roles and activities for everyone during the customer's journey in specific stages, it helped us to find out that what we actually need to change.
Yeah.
So that was the way we started to do it, and I think it took a couple of days. Totally, the hours over a couple of days to do the total planning of that, and then we started to implement that immediately after all of us started to feel that okay, now we have everything here, and so that is the ideal way we would like to do it in future.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, and then when we started to do the implementation of it, and we had a clear responsibilities coming from that plan we designed together. I think the first biggest task was to that inbox zero work.
Yeah.
So we wanted to get rid of that every morning the customer success people open the email and they start their days following the emails came from the happy or mostly unsatisfied clients.
Yeah. And like emails,
how did we get rid of that?
implement this. Email is quite straightforward because if you look at the customer success manager's email, you can split it to two different sides. First one is like support related messages. So some customers, they are just basically asking you to provide them with some documentation or instruction videos or just helping them to use the software.
Yeah.
Or they have found some minor bug, or they are following up how the previous ticket or whatsoever moves on the pipeline. So it's clearly for customer support function, not for the customer success function. And then the other half is emails from like same customers, but those topics, they are more related to the contract or how to like use Trustmary for like increasing their business or some new ideas or discussions related to the collaboration in general, like more like helping customers to get the most out of Trustmary, not just how to use it or how this works and so on. And the first part, those support messages, you should just delegate to the support function. So basically send them to the ticketing system, and the other half, which is like just a couple of emails per day, you should like answer immediately or during the same day. So at the end of the day, you don't have any emails and it's zero. So yeah, that's why it was like the easiest and most obvious part when we started to think how to split those like daily tasks from customer success managers to customer success and support tasks.
And the agents can handle that the customer success people, they don't need to read those emails, but they automatically check that and label it based on the need or the topic coming from the email content.
Yeah.
All right, and the other thing, it has always been a big channel and an important channel for us is the live chat and the chat done by AI bot inside of our product. So we have that in-app chat.
Yeah.
And so everyone who's logged into our product, they can use our live chat to get help. And during outside of Finnish time zone, we have had for a long time, for many years, we have had an AI bot handling those issues, but we also updated that. Yeah. How did we do it? What was the biggest change?
The biggest change was that before this spring, we thought that AI is just nice add-on on the live chat. So basically, we have to have like human being answering like basically all the messages, and we can just use AI as an addition for the weekends or nights or whatever. But during the last, I would say 3 months, it has become quite clear that AI can actually answer better than human what comes to the like giving some instructions and searching data from some knowledge base and so on. So basically, we started to implement new knowledge base containing our help desk documentation, but also like the previous support tickets, anonymized, of course, but like all the information we have related to our how to use our software and so on. And on top of that, we implement some modern LLM like Claude Sonnet 4.6, for example, and some chat interface. And I can guarantee that it will be better than human what comes to answering the questions, because it can like scrape through the data like super fast and find the like super spot on answers for the customer. You can try it by yourself. Just take your company's help.yourcompany.com help desk documentation, give it to Claude and ask some questions, and you will see that it's really
and if you have, for example, some anonymous ticketing data also from the emails coming and the questions answered, you have that kind of data, you can also keep that and it will be even better.
Yeah, exactly.
It's much better than any human with these kind of questions which can be answered based on the information.
Yeah.
The basic typical data or information.
Yeah. And once again, with that implemented, we can free up the time of the support agents like real humans and use that time for understanding the customer's needs better, the problems better, understanding the like how to prioritize customer development ideas and so on, whatever, having short video meetings with our customers if they need some ad hoc help for some more complex problems.
Yeah. Okay, these are two good examples how we have used AI and agents in customer support, but what kind of things we have done now with the customer success? specifically with the success. So can you tell more about, for example, those AI-driven trigger agents?
Yeah.
How because they help our customer success a lot.
Yeah. Nowadays it's quite easy to like give the AI some LLM or AI agent your product usage data, for example, and start asking questions. So which customers are using this most, and who are the ones we should focus on, and who are the ones who are using it the most but paying the less, and so on. So you can like super easily get some insights and do decisions how to focus on your resources and how to allocate them and so on. But
And we have had that data for a long time. Like a couple of years ago, we did a big change when we integrated all the data we have, all the customer data.
Yeah.
So coming from the contracts or sales meetings and from the other sources, for example, the prospecting information, demographics information, also the usage events from the product. We integrate all of the data to the one place.
Yeah.
Or the one database, and we started to use that as a main what's the name of that? We built some different kind of lists and the tables for the customer success and they started to do the activities based on that. But still, we have had that data, and it was a big thing when we did that. But now we don't. It was still pretty much separated from the activations we do.
Yeah.
And we need to check those things. Okay, based on that list, what we should do next.
Yeah.
But now we can also give that task to agents, and they can do that. When we are sleeping, they can prepare. They can do the preparation for the activities and the task, and when we wake up, there is a pre-created list of things and the tasks what we can do once we start to do our own human work.
And if the first part is that you can before AI, you just looked at the list and tried to like figure out what are the like most important insights and how should I allocate my time. So now in the age of AI, the first step is to give it to the LLM and start chatting about the data. But also with the AI agents, you can automate this whole thing like you just explained. So basically, when something happens, for example, customer stops using this specific feature, you will get immediate Slack notification. Hey, this customer stopped using this feature. Please call them and ask what's going on. So
it will automatically change the states from activated clients to reactivated segment if they don't use, for example, the main key features of us. And then we get the notification, and we even get the pre-made task and a way to communicate that to the client. All right. How does the new customer success model, how does it improve reactivation and early churn detection in practice? Early churn detection in practice.
Yeah. So
have we seen any difference with help of those real-time data alerts?
Basically, when someone stops using some feature, we can react immediately. So we don't have to wait 3 months until we get some list and we can check that, hey, these customers, they are not using, or we don't have to wait until they resign the contract and say that, hey, we haven't been using this for 6 months now, so it's like useless for us. We can immediately call them and ask that
Yeah,
need any help.
yeah. But that's true. But same time, we don't need to if we see that okay, but we can do it enough early enough.
Yeah.
So because there is a lot of things when we don't need to react immediately.
Exactly.
But we can build different kind of prioritized lists, and that takes into account that is the customer actually is the how harmful or what is the risk of that movement or event or trigger of the client. So we don't need to react if we don't want to do it because everything is planned early enough.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's all about the like time allocation, allocating your time for the right things. Another example, some customer churns and we ask for a reason, and the reason is that I'm the new marketing director here, so I have nothing to do with your product and I haven't seen it and I haven't heard about it, so it's useless for me. So that's like the old way. So currently we can get the immediate Slack message when the new customer director starts working in the company, and we can call them and introduce ourselves and ask if they need any help with Trustmary and so on.
Yeah, that's right. And if there are a churn, so people, our client tell us that they will stop using Trustmary and they want to end the contract. Now it's pretty easy to gather all the information of the value they have gained during the years with Trustmary, and we can give them data set of what kind of things they will miss in the future if they stop using Trustmary now.
Yeah.
So that has been also a big thing for us.
Yeah.
Because there can be the customer churn coming from some decision makers from the company who have not even ever looked into the product and they don't actually know that what the product does. But for example, some financial people and they have just got some tasks to cut the costs of software licenses, and for these kind of cases, it's very helpful to have a quick way to get the information about the value they have gathered during the years.
Yeah.
And that prevents churn a lot. All right, so when you use AI and agents well, and you have all the data needed and the contexts needed to handle those different kind of issues, support and customer success issues with help of the AI, you can focus and you can allocate your own time as a human to the things where actually people are designed originally for.
Yeah.
And I think that we have started to see that in practice that when you need to reactively respond to all the emails and you need to you don't need to give the similar answers to the similar questions every day. You can be more proactive and you can plan for the client and you can do the strategic planning for your client, and that's a totally different way to work, and it's maybe more healthy also for the customer success people.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And also better for the customers, I would say.
Yeah, in the end, of course, yeah.
They don't want to wait. They want to go to some AI and ask questions and get some help.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add? So
Not really. My like main idea of the process we did, it's good that we still need people to build trust with other people and so on. So if you can free up your time and put it to the like more important things, it's always good. Don't think that AI will replace me, but please think how to allocate your time better and how to use your time for the right things.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
See you on next episode.
See you.
Bye.